Rob Smith Media here, and I'm delighted to be joined by one of Cage Warriors' top featherweights, and more importantly, the owner of one of the best mullets in MMA, Nik Bagley. Nick, how we doing, mate?
Hello, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very good, mate. It's my pleasure to have you on, mate. It's a real pleasure. So, well, you're coming off the back of probably the biggest win of your career against Cavani Lopez, and well, I want to talk to you about that fight because it was dominant, but I think it was a strange one because Cavani came into the UFC as a bit of an unknown. He had a good record on paper, but he came in against Hardwick. People didn't really know much about him. He saw a Brazilian with a lot of finishes, and then he gave Hardwick probably the toughest fight of his championship run. But then you absolutely blitzed him. I think the scorecards 30-25 and 30-26 twice. I mean, that's pure domination. Do you believe that was the fight that really showcased yourself to the Cage Warriors fans about what you're capable of?
Well, I guess so. Like, if it's gonna be my toughest fight to date on the paper, then yeah, of course, like it's gonna show people that I am of certain level, even though my record at the time wasn't saying it. What was it, like 6-1, 7-1, and I was going up against 11-1 or 11-2 guy. So yeah, on paper he had a lot more experience than me, and I believe all of his wins came by first round, a big threat and a big like first round finisher. So yeah, it's good to navigate around that and get a dominant win against a guy like that.
And I was watching some of your post-fight interviews after that fight, and you've said how in the past you've been quite reluctant to call for a title shot, but after this win, you were saying how you believe you are next in line. So what about that performance made you kind of cement yourself as the number one contender in your eyes?
I mean, the fact that I just fought a former title challenger and just absolutely dominated him. Like even though Hardwick did get a win over him, like it wasn't as dominant. Like it was a lot more back and forth, and
Yeah.
I kind of just went through this guy. Kind of had him where I wanted him the whole fight. Like landed good damaging shots on the feet and just wrestled wrestled him at my own will. Like he couldn't really get out. Um, so yeah, the only thing that was missing was the finish, but he's a tough customer to finish.
Yeah, he's a very tough opponent. I think, like I said, I know you said how Hardwick finished him in the fourth. I think if you had that fourth round, you would have got the finish. And I do agree. But I think in a different way, even though he didn't get the finish, the scorecards and how the fight went was just as impressive. Like you completely, it was a masterclass. You completely shut him from start to finish.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's nothing more to say about that, isn't it? Like I could have kept it on the feet even longer, but like every moment that I was on the feet with him, obviously as much as I'm trying to hit him, there's also an obvious risk of him catching me and knocking me out. So it's like if I can avoid that by just like wrestling him down and like grounding pounding his face into the canvas, then why not? But he was just holding on. Like whenever I was on top, he was just holding on and just trying to not get finished rather than trying to get out. I think if he tried to get out, then that would give me the chance to transition to a better position, probably take the back and finish him from there. Or well, you never know. One would hope in it, but I had his back in the third and still couldn't finish him. But yeah, he's tough. He's tough.
And so we kind of discussed the current champion Harry Hardwick, and he's coming off the back of a bit of a in his words like a bit of a disappointing performance against Javier Garcia. And so, what do you make of the current champion, and what do you think of that performance?
Um, Definitely wasn't the best performance, as obviously he himself is saying. Yeah, overall, like Harry's good fighter. He's tough. He has good cardio. Skilled on the feet and on the floor. But yes, just last few fights, he's just been looking a little bit like he's been on some sort of decline or like some sort of mental block. Like I just don't feel like they were like world championship performances that you would look for, if that makes sense. It's almost like he just about scraped by and managed to get the win, like over tough his opponent, and ended up wearing him out and gets the win like later on in the fight, like third or fourth round. Where it's, yeah, that's about it.
And how do you think you would match up if you were to fight the current champion? How do you think you would match up with him?
I think I match up well, like because we're both. Especially, it depends what game he plays. If he was to face me, depends how he would come out. If he comes out how he normally does, like forward pressure, then I just meet him right there, and then it would just be a very fun and high paced fight. And I don't think it would go to the end because if we're both pressing the action, like you can't really not get the finish in a 5 round fight. Do you know what I mean? There's just like
Yeah.
we would both just be spent, and one of us would just end up going down.
And is it correct that you've fought out your current Cage Warriors contract?
Yeah, that's correct.
And so I know the UFC is starting to begin to look for people for the upcoming season of Dana White's Contender Series. Do you believe that you've earned a shot to compete on that show?
Yeah, I believe that they could have me on for sure, but I think they're pretty booked up and like they have a lot of yeah, their roster is just a bit too full at the moment, and they're
Yeah,
not looking to extend it out to everyone. So it's like can be a hard get in
yeah, definitely.
at times. But yeah, if the opportunity presented itself, then there's nothing to say that I haven't deserved or don't deserve to be on that show. I do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I think there's a few of you guys who definitely deserve to be on there. I think Hardwick deserves to be on there. I think yourself. And there's another guy I want to bring up, and that's Solomon Simon. I think he's on his way to. I think he's just a little bit, but I think if I had to be honest, I think he's a little bit behind right now. But I think he could easily earn that shot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Like he's on a little finishing streak as well, or winning streak, or both winning and finishing streak. Uh, but yeah, yeah. It's just yeah, yeah. I agree.
And so the reason that I even asked you for this interview to begin with is because I saw that you commented on my post with Solomon, and you said how because he said he would welcome a fight with you for like say a vacant title or a number one contender fight, and you were saying how you believe you're next in line. And now I think you've warranted the next title shot. I do believe you have earned that, but you said that if needed to, you would fight Solomon for an interim title or even a number one contender fight. So talking about that matchup, and because Solomon he's on a six, he's undefeated as a pro, he's got all finishes and he believes that his striking will probably be a little bit too much, and he thinks you'll try and rest him from the get go. So how do you think that matchup with Solomon goes?
I think it goes well for me. Like obviously, vice versa. He probably thinks it goes for him, but like the thing with me, I train with a lot of guys who have good hands, good wrestling and good grappling, and they're all like very well established pros. So I know kind of where I stand. And if someone puts the heat on me, I know what I do and how I respond to that. I don't know who he trains with, so um, I don't know if he gets tested to up to the same standard as me on a regular basis, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
But nevertheless, that's not to say he wouldn't be able to perform and put on a good fight. But I do think, yeah, I'll be the victor in that fight if we fought. But that's my opinion, and the only way to uh, prove that is to actually have a fight. But yeah, I do think I'm next in line for the belt. I don't know if the title shot is gonna materialize itself this summer, as we're kind of negotiating at the moment with Cage Warriors for my re-signing and what the next steps are. By the sounds of it, Hardwick is not trying to fight until after summer, so I might be getting a fight in between that, and then obviously I'm all for that belt personally, and then after the belt fight, I should be the champion, and then we can talk.
Yeah, I think it's something they mentioned earlier about it's so hard to get into the UFC now. I think it's getting even harder, especially with the introduction of Contender Series. I think it's just made that, especially for the European guys who can't just jump on a US card on short notice, with the majority of the cards being in the US. I think it's a lot easier for those guys to get on cards on short notice and things. Where I think for Cage Warriors now, I know Hardwick posted a video saying that he wants to take a few months off because he's been a very active champion to give him a lot of credit. He's had a lot of fights and a lot of hard fought victories. So I think he's earned a bit of time off. I think if you have to have another fight in the meantime, one more, I think you'd be undoubtedly the number one contender fight, and it'd have to be for the title next.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I'm already the number one contender as it is, as I
Yeah,
literally just dominated the former title challenger.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, in a way, Hardwick is holding up the division, which is not great. Which is why I would have liked the idea of an interim belt between me and Solomon. That would have been
Mhm.
great. Or between me and Luke Riley before he left, but he's gone now. Um, yeah, either one of those fights would be a good level fight and title belt worthy for sure. But yeah, as of now, I'm looking to potentially fight in July on the London card.
Yeah.
Um, get a victory and then yeah, see what's going on with this title shot.
So you mentioned how you're kind of having discussions with your new contract with Cage Warriors. Have you approached the idea of an interim title to Cage Warriors?
Yeah, but I don't know if they like that idea. I don't know if they want to do it.
Right, okay. And one thing I want to talk about. The first time I interviewed somebody, I did this with George Staines the other day. I like to talk about not just like Nik Bagley, the fighter, but also the person. So, what are some of your interests outside of MMA? Got any hobbies into the other sports? What other things you like outside of MMA?
Well, I recently got a puppy,
Oh,
Dalmatian,
nice.
so he's been like a baby to me. He's about what 9 weeks old now, so I just caring and nursing for him at the moment. Whenever I'm back home in between training sessions,
Oh
early
yeah,
morning he starts whinging in his little crate. I take him out, bring him back in, feed him his little breakfast, try to train him, like give him different commands, like sit, lie down, go to the crate, blah blah blah. And then yeah, just repeat that 2, 3 times a day. Take him out for a little walk and just deal with inside the house incidents. There's still house training and all that.
yeah. I get the feeling. I've got a young dog myself. I've got a little puppy myself. I get the feeling.
Yeah, yeah. And then outside of that, I'm just trying to just relax as much as I can between the training sessions, like watch a movie or just have a little downtime, like sit in the garden, like catch some sun. Especially lately, the sun's
Oh
been
yeah, it's
out,
been.
so I just try to have a lay down, little soak in the sun, catch a little bit of tan. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much just all gas, no breaks with the training, coaching, no one-to-ones, and now puppy training.
Am I correct? You train out a GB top team. Is that correct?
Yeah,
So what's I can imagine it's like because I'm good friends with a amateur fighter over there, Dacre Bradley. I'm not sure if you're aware of Dacre. I'm sure you are, but me and Dacre we speak, and he's saying how a GB top team you're surrounded constantly by killers, and there's always people you can learn from. And so what's that like for you as a fighter to have such good knowledge around you all the time?
I mean it's great, isn't it? Like, you just get held accountable. So if you're slipping and not working as hard, like not working as hard as you should be, not working on the things that you should be working on, and just you know not managing your time right, you're gonna be held accountable. Like when you do train, because yeah, so many good level fighters getting ready for fights, and yeah, it's just a very good place to be, isn't it? Like you get great looks, you get good strikers, good wrestlers, good grapplers. We have guys coming in here doing their camps, guys coming in here from just all parts of the country or different countries, from all over the place. So it's great personally.
And my final question is, I don't want to keep you too long, but I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. My final question is, we're going into the second half of the year. So what are your goals to the end of the year and also going into 2026? Where do you want to be by the end of 2026?
2026, definitely, before end of this year, I'd like to get two more fights in. One of them being a um, title fight at the end of this year would be nice. And then next year, just defend the title and either defend it again or look to get a fight on contender series or get picked up by UFC.
Yeah. Well, Nick, I want to thank you for coming on first of all. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you. It's early days of my channel, so having big guys on like yourself, it's a real pleasure speaking to you, mate.
I appreciate you having me on, man.
Thank you, mate.